Hello and welcome to the Run with Alli live show, the show that brings you stories from your everyday runners to professional athletes and other specialists in the running community who all share a common passion for the sport. I'm your host, Coach Alli. I hope my podcast can help you change the way you live and the way you move, so in the long run, you're able to live a sustainable and healthy lifestyle that you deserve. The purpose of this podcast is to promote the love of running. Throughout my experience speaking with the individuals in the running community, I've found that many of us seek acceptance and relatability in some way, shape, or form. On Run with Alli Live, I tie together the common pain points and solutions through the stories told by the special guests on the show. Each individual has a unique running journey and shares how running impacts the mind and body in the sport and outside of it, both mentally and physically. So stop being so hard on yourself. Tune in right here weekly for new motivational episodes with special guests to inspire you to change your life for the long run. Thank you once again for joining us on Run with Alli Live. Please don't forget to support the show and our special show guests by clicking on the subscribe button in Apple Podcasts or whichever platform you choose to listen to the show on. Welcome to Run with Alli Live. It is August 24th, and it is really hot and humid here in New York City. How is it there, Desiree?
Hot and humid.
Hot and humid. You know, we got to just roll with the punches in the summertime, right?
Yeah.
We have a very, very, very special guest here, everyone. And before I dive into today's guest, I want to remind you all, if you have not subscribed to the show already, please do so after this live, so we could keep, the guests coming on the show and keep the show going. And for those of you new on here, welcome. And I hope you subscribe to the show as well. And without further ado, we have a very kind guest today, Desiree Lotz. She's from South Africa, and she has been working with individuals in the wellness industry for 40 plus years. So Desiree, welcome to Run with Alli Live.
Thanks, Alli. It's nice to be with you.
It's a pleasure having you on the show. And, I'm so glad we can make this work. So tell us a little bit about yourself and, what you're all about.
Okay. So many years ago, I trained to be a detox specialist, and I ran the detox program, which, because it's done in a sauna, basically it's to get people, to help them get the drugs and the chemicals and all the junk in their bodies, get it out. Because if it's in the body, what's left there, which I can go into the details of that if you're interested, it really does cause people problems because anyway, so I did that. And then based on that, you have to watch the person. You have to be sure they're hydrated. They're in a sauna for a few hours a day. You've got to be very alert. And so I was doing that. And then one of the products, part of that program is a calcium and magnesium product called CalMag. And so what evolved from that is I started the vitamin business in South Africa because our local detox area couldn't find vitamin B1 anywhere in Joburg. And it was kind of like October. And that's heading into our summer and our big holiday time over Christmas. And that's when a lot of the detoxes were taking place. So I drove all over Joburg to try and find some B1 and couldn't. And then I thought, then I kind of like, big farmers suppressing or cutting, blah, blah. So I called the laboratory that makes it in another city. And I said, where's the B1 kind of thing? And the guy said, it was all sent out on tender for the alcoholics. And I'm like, oh, wow, I like that. That's a good. And then I said, I've got this detox thing. So he said, go to the warehouse in Johannesburg and go and see if they've got any. So I did. I drove over there and I asked the lady, do you have any B1? She said, no. I said, please do me a favor. Take me to the shelf where you keep it. I just wanted to get a feel, So She took me there, and there were 6 bottles sitting on the shelf. I said, can I buy those? She said, sure. So
wow.
Yeah, so I got them.
So, this is actually really interesting to me because as an endurance runner, a distance runner, and a coach, actually really recently, I've been very, very intrigued by how much things like calcium, magnesium, and, iron and all these things that are imperative for someone like a runner to really have and maybe even need more so with distance training. It really impacts the body in ways that I've personally experienced that I never thought would experience, such as, experience what it feels like to truly be deficient in iron or, maybe even magnesium. And it's interesting to me how one little thing, one deficiency could offset a lot of different things.
Oh, yes.
So I would love to hear, your advice, being the expert you are, on what you would tell a distance runner to, kind of like just very top level, like how to go about making sure they get these proper nutrients. And
well, I'm gonna hold a page up here for you now, just to give you. So if you look at this, these are all the symptoms of dehydration. There's a lot, including blood pressure and mood things and all kinds of stuff. It is so crucial what you just mentioned now, and because I have to make sure people are not getting dehydrated, and I do. I've helped a lot. But now here's a question. Can drinking water dehydrate you? And I've got that on my website, and it's in big capitals. Yes, it can. Because here's what happens. You drink, you pee. You drink, you pee. And this is the normal thing. So what's happening is you're losing more and more minerals. So the whole trick of the thing is you've got to replenish those minerals. And things like Gatorade and all that is poison. That is going to dehydrate you even more. So all those so-called, whatever you want to call them, they are not good for you because they actually deplete more and more.
So let's just stop you for a second. This is actually important. On marathon courses, they hand out Gatorade and water at these stations. So that's actually a fascinating and maybe something that needs to be further looked into.
Yes, absolutely. And if you look it up yourself and you look at the ingredients, now, first of all, I mean, there's several things, sugar and and chemicals are going to dehydrate you. So if you look at the ingredients, just look from those perspectives. And if anybody wants to know any more, I can always kind of give them some data. But this is seriously the dehydration thing. And people die from severe dehydration. And when you go to hospital because you're severely dehydrated, what do they give you? A saline drip. So this is kind of like, so I do muscle testing, which is if anybody doesn't know, it's called applied kinesiology is the correct term, but I call it muscle testing. So you use the person's arm and you test it for that it's got to be strong and be able to stay up. And then then what I do is I can test all kinds of things. I can test your vitamins, I can test your liver, all kinds of stuff you can test to see if there's needs any help. But the main thing, considering what we're talking about, is dehydration. Right on top of the head here is where the fontanelle, when you're a baby and your skull is open and then it eventually grows closed, it's called the fontanelle. That is the point I use. So when I test that, I test that, and probably 99% of people I test, the arm goes down, which is a weakness on that point. And the thing
how do you do that again? I gotta try that.
I know.
I'm worried. So
well,
you go like this?
No, but it's not that you can use somebody else to test yourself, but you can't actually test yourself on your own.
Got it.
So we can go over that, and I can drill you. You know what I mean? Wow. So basically, you hold the armor, and then I'll show you the procedure. And then once you know the arm is in good holds up, then you test here. If the arm goes down, that's a sign that there's dehydration. And then when you use the right thing to fix it, and you can test all kinds of stuff. You can test the Gatorade and see if it fixes it. because if the arm goes strong, then whatever it is good. And I've tested many people on many things, and even just on water, the arm goes down because it doesn't have minerals. So what I do, it's just a bottle I use. I put decent quality water, and then I put Celtic sea, can you see it? Celtic sea salt into it. I always have sea salt, Celtic sea salt in my drinking water. And the quantity you put in is the quantity that tastes good to you. So if it's too salty, obviously it's too much. If it's kind of flat tasting, it's not enough. You want it just enough so it's got a pleasant taste. Then that's the right amount for your body. So I've tested many people, and I had a very interesting lady several years ago. I mean, I've tested many people on this subject, but this particular one was very interesting. She was not allowed into a certain place in our area here because her blood pressure was way too high. So she came to see me, and I tested her, and I used to have, let me just see if I've got one to show you here. I've got all this stuff here. Basically, it's an ampoule. It's a glass ampoule of seawater. And when I used to be able to get these. I don't anymore. I don't know why. But when I tested her, she needed 8 of these to fix the blood pressure issue. Because I tested the hydration and the blood pressure point. And she called her doctor in France. And he said to her, no, you can't take that. It's salt and your blood pressure and blah, blah. But she didn't listen to him. She listened to me. And the next day, her blood pressure went down and she was able to go into that building. So it's a major, major thing. People, now, if you think about this, if you prick your finger and you suck the blood, have you ever done that? Some people, yeah. It's got a salty taste.
Yeah.
And if you sweat and you lick it,
yeah,
salty. Yes. If you cry and the tears are
salty,
your body fluid is almost identical to seawater in chemical analysis. It's almost the same. So your body's, let's call it your blood is made up of these minerals. And the word salt is derived from the word salary, pay. Because way back, remember when the sailing ships sailed around the world and traded with other countries, they got paid with salt. So that's where the word salt comes from, salary, pay, because it's so crucial for survival. So if people have enough of that, and even babies and everybody, I mean, if my kids, like if they're crying and upset and can't sleep, it's always dehydration is the first thing you address. And then the worst, I mean, you're living up now in New York, and I'm living in this horrible, humid environment. And of course, there's a lot of air conditioners being used. Air conditioning is your biggest culprit for dehydration.
That's very interesting. Can I actually explain something to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to think this is the truth.
Uh-huh.
I live in kind of an older building. It's hot and humid in Brooklyn. It's hot. I do not have an AC unit. Do not. I chose not to have one because it was, I had like breathing issues last summer, and I just felt like almost like my throat was getting very dry. And also I did feel more dehydrated holistically.
Yeah.
But obviously it's been uncomfortable to go to sleep sweating some nights, because I'm not going to lie, that's happened. But I feel like, is it almost crazy for me to think that my body is adapted to like this kind of climate or this environment because of that? It's interesting that you say that. That's
I'm going to just say something to you. Dehydration, those symptoms you just described, even the breathing and all that can be dehydration. So one of the things you can do is also get a salt solution, get it up your nose, but getting the salt water into your body is crucial, because whether you got air conditioning or not, you are getting dehydrated, the environment, because let me just finish the air conditioning story, then we'll go on to that. The air conditioner's job is to remove humidity from the air. You know, you understand that part. What is the biggest humidity carrying object in the room? The human body, loaded with liquids. Our bodies are, a huge part is liquid. So you are getting it sucked out of you. And I had a personal experience because I'm a detox specialist and I know all about this. You got to watch them in the sauna and blah, blah, blah. I was sitting in the course room one day, many, many years ago, and I'm trained on this subject. And we got into the course room and it was comfortable. Everybody was sitting doing their course and blah, blah, blah. And then I noticed that people, it was getting more and more uncomfortable. And I noticed people were going up to the air conditioner button and making it colder and colder. And suddenly the penny dropped. Oh my goodness. It's the air conditioner sucking it out of our bodies. It's now in the air. We're now uncomfortable. So now we've got to make it colder. So in other words, it's going to be working harder and sucking more out of you.
Oh my goodness.
So you're totally right. But if you put a fan on you, that would be fine. If you're comfortable with a fan and you just make sure you're hydrated, you're getting your salt water and doing the right things, that should help you. But it'll be a good test for you to see if what I'm telling you, makes sense,
Yeah. So basically that'd be very fascinating. So for distance runners, you would say to just make sure you're properly hydrated with the proper.
Yep. And carry it with you. Carry your water bottle with you somehow. Because that is, you guys are exerting a lot of energy and you're pushing a lot of minerals out of you. And and also the water. Well, the water with the minerals is what hydrates you. Water on its own will just dehydrate you. You don't want to have you could take a thing of salt and drink your water separately, whatever works for you. I'm so used to doing it this way. And wherever I go, and people know me, it's like, and when I test people on these different drinks, and you'll be shocked. So I will show you sometime. We can go over it, and if you've got somebody with you, we can do the drilling on it. Then you can drill and see.
Absolutely. Actually, my significant other, he just went through this whole gut cleansing thing. He used to be a very seasoned boxer, and I've seen his skin clear up, and I was just thinking, like, he was explaining how he was he's more energized. His hormones have kind of leveled out, and I'm just like, wow, it's just amazing what little things could do. But of course, there's no one size fits all for anyone. I would love to.
But even for him, even as the boxer, that's always good for us to clean out the system because it's loaded with all this junk. Get it out, clean it out, and then mineral. Just to give you a simple explanation.
Yeah.
When electricity. Okay, so when electricity comes into your house, and it's all good, the computer works, the lights work, everything's good. The minute there's interference, there's flickering of lights, and in varying degrees, and in a worst case scenario, blackout. Now, if you that I compare to body death, but I don't like to mention that. So the body's electrical system is the nervous system. So the central nervous system is based in the skull here, and it is connected to every part of your body, to your little tippy toes, down to your fingers, to your organs, to your glands, everywhere. It's all connected. And the signals go, touch the hot stove. Oh, if your electrical system is in good condition, you'll jump back fast. Or if you step into the road and there's a car coming, your reaction time is fast. If your electrical current is not working too well, you touch the stove and it takes a while for the signal to come back and say, oh, you're burning your finger. By the time you remove it, your finger's burnt. And when you step in the road, your reaction time is going to be so slow that you could get thumped. So the electrical current is created by the minerals. The calcium and magnesium are your most abundant minerals. So those are very, very key for many, many things, heart contraction relaxation and muscle contraction relaxation for athletes and for anybody, even if you're going to have a baby. contract, relax. You have to, if babies have got colic, I give them CalMag, because what's happening is, think about a worm. A worm pulls like this and then goes like this, pulls like this and goes like this. And the same happens in your gut. So if the calcium levels are decent, it pulls up, contracts. And if the magnesium levels are decent, it relaxes. And that's basically how the whole body works. Heartbeat, electrical current, it's all dependent on the minerals. So no matter what else you're doing, your minerals are key. And definitely the Gatorade is out of the picture.
Wow. This is like extremely fascinating, because it's amazing how holistically you've probably dealt with so many different people with different issues.
Mm-hmm.
And now just thinking from, as a distance runner, and like having my life molded around that, and I know a lot of listeners on this show could relate. It's just so important to replace those vitamins and minerals lost while you're running, while you're sleeping. Almost like to be really extra diligent about that when you're doing excess activity like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. You keep the electrical current going, and then you'll find the energy and the energy levels. Because my friend who's a golfer was telling me that when the golfers go around the golf course, by the time they've gone to like the 9th hole, they are so wiped out. Then they go in and drink this other junk stuff, and then it's actually going to have a negative effect on you. It might give you an instant relief, but long term it's dehydrating you more and more. So it's really important to get the right minerals.
What is a drink that you would recommend?
I'm really not a big drink person. I'm water and the salt. That's my main drink thing. I might get a decent quality now and then. Definitely not sweetened, and definitely organic, definitely real fruit juice. I've just spent a couple of weeks in Mexico. Oh my goodness, those guys are great. They got real fruit, and so you could add some in there, or use one of that kind of decent, and add your salt and stuff, because they don't have all the minerals. The fruits don't have, each different fruit doesn't have all the minerals. So, and I mean, there are some like celery and those kind of things that are good sources of minerals. But the simplicity for me is really just daily, always. I don't go to bed without the bottle next to my bed, and I don't drive anywhere without my bottle in the car with me. So it's kind of my basic.
I love that. So just keeping it simple, your salt and your water with what your body needs. And if anything, just like a fresh mango squeezed into a juice.
Yeah, something yummy, something yummy that you enjoy. And definitely the Celtic sea salt I recommend, because the others may or may not, they're not bad, but they may not. But Celtic sea salt has got iodine in it, for sure. And iodine is very key for the thyroid. And the thyroid is your metabolism gland. So if you're not got enough of the right things, you're going to also have like feeling depressed and moody and all kinds of stuff. And that's one of the symptoms of dehydration. So it's all part of the package. You need to have all the minerals. So
that's really, really interesting, actually. The fact that you touched on thyroid, that's a whole another conversation for another time. But yes. What would you say about Himalayan salt?
If you check it and it's got iodine in it, it should be fine. But I'm not sure that it does. But I guess it depends on where you get it from. And if you like your Himalayan salt, you could get iodine separately, but just always make sure. And that would be another interesting topic. Remind me, we'll talk about radiation and pilots and flying and all those subjects regarding the thyroid. But it really is important to get all the minerals, but you must get the iodine.
Okay, that's very important to know, because I put Himalayan salt in my water now, but I'm going to look into the salt that you have.
Yeah.
And check that out, because
and the thyroid is, I tested with that muscle testing. I tested, but we'll go over that and I'll show you.
Okay, I love that. And I could ask you all the things, but everyone listening on the show, we want to be mindful of Desiree's time and of the show's time. I'm going to be sharing all of her information in the show notes, so please don't, be unkind, be mindful of her time. And Desiree, I want to, leave you with one final question. If you, had to just tell one person here listening on the show, one piece of advice, minus drinking water with salt, who is going into their first distance running event, what would it be? And I know that's a big question, but you can
let me look at that. Well, definitely we've gone over the subject that's very key. And there's many things that we can use to test, but I would make sure that you're getting everybody's getting enough fish oil, because in the fish oil is essential fatty acids. So if you're drinking, let's say, calcium, a lot of people have high calcium levels when they get tested by the doctor, and that is a misnomer. There's a reason why the calcium levels are high, and that is because they're lacking essential fatty acids, because we know we need vitamin D to absorb calcium, for example. So to absorb calcium, the sun or wherever, you got vitamin D. But now to get it from the bloodstream into the bones and the cells, you need essential fatty acids. And we can cover that subject, but definitely I would make sure I'm getting all of those basics in so that the body's got what it needs.
Very interesting. Good to know. And that is an amazing thing to, for you to leave us with. So thank you so much for joining. And, I look forward to just keeping in touch and, getting to learn more from you, and hopefully vice versa. It's been an amazing experience having you here. And, to anyone else listening, again, this episode is going to be up across Apple. It's going to be in the Apple Store. It's going to be on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, and Castbox, and iHeartRadio. So, you could listen to this wonderful episode on any of those platforms. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode and return to the show next week. And I will see you at the same time, same place then. Thank you so much, Desiree, and have a great day.
You're welcome, and good on what you're teaching people.
Thank you.
Okay.
Don't forget to become a member on my website to get updates on my weekly new special episodes on the show, sharing fun running feats, training methodologies, and all things running related to help you keep your running fun. Reference the link in the show notes to become a member of the Run with Alli community so you can connect with other like-minded individuals who love running just as much as you do. Again, do not forget to subscribe to the show by clicking the follow plus button in Apple Podcasts or subscribing on whichever platform you're listening to the show on. Please leave a review under the episode in whichever directory you're listening to the show in, so I can better provide you with the top-notch content I strive to deliver you week in and week out. Thank you again for listening to Run with Alli Live. If you are looking for the perfect solution to finish your first marathon injury-free, even if you've tried to get in shape in the past and failed, sign up and get access to your free 24-week program now by clicking in the link in the show notes under this episode. Sign up now. All you need to submit is your email, and I'll see you on the inside. Thank you so much for listening to Run with Alli Live. See you next time.